Hello, and welcome to this presentation on what to expect during a soil erosion and sedimentation control, or SESC, audit. This presentation is designed for agencies who administer Part 91, which is audited by the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, or EGLE. Before we get started, we need to take a step back and ask, why do we even need to administer Part 91? Well, we administer Part 91 to protect and monitor the state of Michigan's water resources, which include 4 Great Lakes, 5 million acres of wetlands, 11,000 inland lakes, 36,000 river miles, and over 70,000 acres of coastal dunes. We use these water resources for multiple purposes, including swimming, fishing, for drinking, or just to protect our beautiful aquatic ecosystems. These are all great reasons and why it's important that we have good SESC programs established. So why do an audit? Well, audits provide EGLE an opportunity to review your programs and, more importantly, to provide compliance assistance to help run an effective program to protect the resources that we just mentioned. The audit timeline. EGLE conducts SESC audits every 5 years. The 5-year cycle is specifically outlined in Part 91. EGLE will contact you to schedule a good date and time for the audit to occur. EGLE will then send a digital questionnaire and audit confirmation letter. EGLE may request additional information to be submitted along with the questionnaire. Our intentions leading up to an audit is to conduct compliance visits with an agency at least once every 3 years, with a goal to increase staff and field presence and knowledge of agency performance, and to establish an understanding of agency performance over time versus a one-time snapshot view of the program. We would also encourage you to contact us if you have any questions related to the program in the interim. I will now go over a broad overview of the steps during an audit. We will go over these items in more detail throughout our presentation. The MEA or CEA staff will complete the digital questionnaire, collect the requested submittals, and then return them to EGLE. EGLE staff will then review the contents of the submittals and may try to inform the MEA or CEA of any necessary changes prior to the field visit. Then a field visit day will be scheduled. This is typically one day, but can last multiple days. During this process, we'll review the questionnaire and site files, do on-site visits and inspections, and an exit interview with the agency. Next, EGLE will compile the audit results and send a letter indicating one of the following: that the MEA or CEA is approved, or a 60-day letter, which will include required changes and give the program 60 days to correct them. If you get that 60-day letter, EGLE and the agency will work closely together to make those required changes. Usually this lasts in the 60-day range. EGLE will then send one of the following: the MEA or CEA approval letter, or a proposal to disapprove the program. So EGLE staff will often ask for additional information to be provided. On top of the digital questionnaire, this will include a copy of the approved CEA or MEA ordinance or resolution, a copy of the SESC application that the agency uses, a copy of the SESC permit that the agency uses, a site inspection form, an inspection matrix if your agency uses one, and a copy of the compliance and enforcement procedures used by the agency. The Water Resources Division of EGLE uses an online database called MyWaters to both store information and make that information available to the public. If you're not already associated in MyWaters with your site, you can be invited by EGLE staff. You will need to create an account if you have not done so already, and you may need to obtain something called certifier status to submit certain forms. District staff can always assist you with any questions that arise that are related to MyWaters. This is the MyWaters login screen. This page can be accessed by the public to report spills, pollution, or unauthorized activities, and to look at maps and other data related to Water Resources Division sites. This is also the page you will see when signing in to MyWaters. These are the items we review as outlined under Section 9110 to determine if an agency is effectively administering soil erosion and sedimentation control procedures. We will get into more details on each of these items in the next slides. The first item we will review is the SESC ordinance or resolution. The MEA or CEA must have a current, adopted, and EGLE-approved ordinance or resolution. To have an approvable ordinance, these steps must be followed. EGLE must send a preliminary ordinance approval letter. The MEA or CEA will then adopt the SESC ordinance and send a sealed copy back to EGLE, and then EGLE will send an official SESC ordinance approval letter. Next, we will look at SESC permits and applications. The enforcing agency must use applications that contain the state-prescribed information on them. The enforcing agency must also include state-prescribed information on the SESC permits that they issue. Here is a copy of the SESC application with the state-prescribed information. And here is the general conditions containing the state-prescribed information that must be included on SESC permits. Next, EGLE will review the funding of an agency administering Part 91. This is not an in-depth analysis of the agency's funding, but an analysis to see if the funding appears to be adequate to effectively administer Part 91. An example, if the agency is issuing 1,000 permits per year but only has one full-time staff, it may be an indication that funding may not be adequate to properly administer Part 91. Next, staff will look at training to verify if the staff working for the SESC agency has the proper training. When EGLE staff is reviewing training, they're looking at the question, does the staff working in the SESC program have the proper training? Part 91 requires that staff need to be certified. Your agency must have at least one person who is certified in both construction stormwater and SESC plan review and design certification. We will discuss the two training types in more detail on the next slide. Any consultants working within an agency's SESC program are also required to be certified. Training is required for all individuals with decision-making authority. The SESC and construction site stormwater operator inspector training allows staff to inspect sites to determine compliance with the SESC plan or procedures, to document inspections, to identify SESC measures that are failing or require maintenance, to identify areas where additional measures may be needed, and to report findings to the landowner or comprehensive certified employee for the MEA or CEA. The next training is SESC Plan Review and Design Training. This training will allow staff to review and/or design SESC plans, to make determinations to pursue enforcement action for non-compliance with Part 91 and its rules, to make SESC plan updates or require changes from the MEA or CEA, and to review and/or design SESC measures or make determinations that design assistance may be needed. The next item that EGLE staff will review are inspections. Adequate inspections and follow-up maintenance are essential to minimize erosion and off-site sedimentation at sites. We tend to hear about the major issues, right? Just remember, timely inspections and proper maintenance can help prevent smaller issues from turning into the major issues. It is the regular inspections that protect water quality and prevent Part 91 violations. Here we see silt fence in need of maintenance following a small rain event. Without proper inspections, this becomes a discharge violation to a stream and could become a major issue later on. Without inspections, inadequate SESC plans and SESC measures are not identified and could become a discharge violation 2 weeks later after rain. A lot of sediment can be moved in an unstable ditch, even in small rain events. A common question we receive is, what is the inspection frequency required by an SESC agency? Part 91 outlines the expectation for conducting inspections but the details on the frequency of the inspections are not well defined. EGLE will expect MEAs or CEAs to conduct adequate site inspections to ensure minimization of soil erosion and off-site sedimentation. That means you will need to make sure you're conducting an adequate number of inspections to minimize soil erosion and off-site sedimentation. Proper documentation of inspections is one of the most missed elements found during our audits. EGLE staff will have no way to verify that you are performing your site inspections if you are not documenting them. One tool an agency may use to help determine the number of times a site needs to be inspected is called a site prioritization matrix. These matrices must be approved by EGLE and will define inspection frequency based on site risk factors, which can include the size of the disturbance, the time and length of the disturbance, flow conditions, the time of the year, soil types, or slopes. If an agency is not utilizing a site prioritization matrix, they should be utilizing the minimum inspection frequency. This includes inspections on any earth changes greater than an acre in size or within 500 feet of a lake or stream at least once per month. Any sites with compliance issues should have more than one inspection per month. When EGLE is reviewing inspection records, we will expect to see that inspections are being documented in an inspection report. While there is no required form for inspections, EGLE does have a template available for use by agencies. EGLE staff will be reviewing the inspection reports for inspection quality. The minimum items that should be included on inspection reports are the conditions of the site and SESC measures, any needed corrective actions, if there were any previous corrections that were completed, the date, the inspector's signature, and these records should be maintained for 5 years so that EGLE can verify them during an audit. Here's an example of a site and what we'd expect to find on the inspection report for the site. Here we see that the check dam on the plan is installed incorrectly. On top of being installed incorrectly, the check dam needs maintenance. In contrast, here's an example of a properly functioning check dam. This is also a good example of how it's easier to see SESC measures and their functions when you inspect a site during or right after a rain event. Here's another example site. On this one, we'd expect to see something similar to the measures installed per the SESC plan and no further actions are required. In this example, we see a long gradual ditch slope that is eroding and discharging sediment to a stream. There were no SESC measures identified in the SESC plan, and additional measures are needed immediately to prevent further discharge. The next item we'll review during an audit are the agency's compliance and enforcement procedures. EGLE recommends that each agency have a set of enforcement procedures. Clear and precise compliance and enforcement procedures will ensure consistency between sites and will assist with any problem sites that may need to be elevated for prosecution. EGLE staff will be reviewing any documentation of enforcement efforts performed by the agency, and we will be looking to see if proper follow-up on sites have occurred. Remember, if a site has a discharge of sediment to waters of the state, they have 24 hours to stop the discharge and 5 days to have fixes fully implemented. Once again, documentation is important to verify that compliance and enforcement efforts are adequate during an audit. Next, staff would be looking at the SESC plans that are included in each site file at the agency. Rule 1703 requires that 12 items need to be included on SESC plans. This is often one of the most missed areas we find during audits. The 1703 requirements include a map or maps at a scale of not more than 200 feet to the inch, a legal description of the site, a site location sketch that includes proximity of any proposed earth change to lakes and streams, predominant land features, contour intervals or slope description, soil surveys or a written description of the soil types of the exposed land area contemplated for the earth change, a description and the location of the physical limits of each proposed earth change, a description and the location of all existing and proposed on-site drainage and dewatering facilities, the timing and sequencing of each proposed earth change, the location and description for installing and removing all proposed temporary SESC measures, a description and location of all proposed permanent erosion and sedimentation control measures, a program proposal for the continued maintenance of all permanent SESC measures, including the designation of the person responsible for maintenance. The final area that Eagle staff will review during an audit is the on-site conditions. This is where Eagle staff will head into the field to check the site conditions of the files that were previously reviewed during the audit. The site conditions will allow Eagle staff to determine how well SESC plans are being implemented and give staff an idea on how well the agency is utilizing inspections and their compliance and enforcement. This is the step in the audit process where it all comes together. And it sure is nice when it all comes together. Once again, after the audit review is completed, Eagle staff will send out one of two letters, a program approval letter or a 60-day letter, which will provide corrections that need to be taken within 60 days in order to run an approvable program. Eagle staff will work with the agency during this time period to provide guidance and assistance on how to make any required corrections. After receiving a 60-day letter, an agency will make corrections within the 60 days, and then a program approval letter will be sent. If corrections are not made or not adequate, or the agency is unwilling to fix the issues, a program disapproval letter will be sent. It is possible that the escalation of enforcement will happen after this step. So what happens between agency audits? Eagle will continue to conduct notice of coverage site inspections and can conduct SESC plan review and file inspections in between audits. As mentioned previously, Eagle's goal is to conduct these type of inspections at least every 3 years to allow staff to have a better understanding of how the agency is administering Part 91. Michigan has some amazing water resources around the state that are truly worthy of our collective efforts to protect. We appreciate your assistance in administering Part 91 effectively and helping to ensure that all Michigan residents can enjoy their water resources. On a final note, remember to reach out to your District Eagle staff for any assistance that is needed. Our number one goal is to assist in helping our SESC agencies run approvable programs that ensure Michigan's amazing water resources are protected for all to enjoy.